we'll get to talking about kind of the here and now and your role as superintendent at Golden Gate National Parks. But I want to take a step back and kind of, get to understand what led you to this place. What originally was your experience as a kid in nature? Was, you know, being in the Park Service or being drawn to national parks a part of something you thought of?
Well, my mom and dad are great people, but they're pretty cheap. And they recognized early on that camping was something that we could do and we could afford. My
Yeah.
my dad had a dune buggy, and so we'd head out from the suburban San Diego environment that I was brought up in
Oh,
to
nice.
go out to Glamis and other locations, BLM properties, with the idea that this is public land and it belongs to all of us. And I
Yeah.
don't think I got the best stewardship messages, at that time, but I did have an appreciation for the land. And my mom and dad would take me up to Joshua Tree in
Nice.
Death Valley and other desert parks that were close because they love the deserts, and I grew to love them too. So at an early age, at 6, 7, 8, I was camping regularly inside of parks. But I would say that the real connection happened in college. Much later, when I had a degree in forestry, I
Okay.
had trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I wanted to join the Peace Corps and work on revegetation projects. But I fell in love with another student that was there. His name was John, and the dream of going into the Park Service. I'm sorry, into going into the Peace Corps. It wasn't a good time for it because they didn't have a lot of same-sex opportunities and
Mm,
placements in different countries. This would have been back in the late '80s.
okay.
So we took 3 4 months off and we camped around the United States and we drove everywhere. We drove to 47 states, camped every single night, often inside of forests or BLM sites or on public lands or in national parks. And by the time I got up to Minnesota, I discovered that the happiest people I was meeting were park rangers. And so I picked up an application there. And by the time I made my way down to Arizona, I had turned it in. And, next May, I had a job working at Dinosaur National Monument in Utah.